All right, Nick, let's talk about one of our favorite teams to talk about, one of the most interesting teams in the past couple of years, and that is none other than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think there's a lot of interesting news surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers as we go into the draft. We have some articles today that are supporting some moves the Pittsburgh Steelers might be thinking about that I think the Steelers fans will love no matter what way it goes.
Yeah, man, it's a very interesting report that you dug up for the Steelers. And that, of course, leads us into the question we have for Pittsburgh fans, as we always like to ask, and give us your response, as always, in the comment section below. Obviously, the draft only a few short weeks away, frankly, a few short days away at this point. That's what I want to know from you guys. What is your favorite Pittsburgh Steelers draft steal of all time? Give us your favorite Steelers draft steal in Pittsburgh's long and, frankly, storied history, and give us that guy in the comment section below. And make sure you stick around to the end of today's video to hear a word from the partner of today's video, and that's Neuro. All right, Miles, what you got? What's going on in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Nick, you talked about draft steals, and it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers may be looking at another draft steal this draft. But I'm going to get straight into the article here, Nick. The Pittsburgh Steelers caught everyone's attention when the reports came out that they've made a phone call to the Chicago Bears about trading into the top 10 of the NFL draft. The question, though, was for who? The Steelers could be approaching an offensive tackle like Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski, or a corner such as Devon Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez, and all would be fair picks there, Nick. But according to Peter King, it could be Georgia star defensive tackle Jalen Carter. So, Nick, I think the Steelers are seeing, and excuse my pun here again, that Carter would be a steal if he slipped down to that number 9 spot that the Bears are currently in. I think they see him as a elite level talent on the defensive line, and the Steelers have always been known for having very great defensive linemen. They may be looking to reload the coffers and get a guy like Carter on the D-line. But once again, Nick, this is always speculative, but it's very interesting that they have started the talk, started to see, maybe what it would cost to move up into that top 10 range. And according to Peter King, a very reliable source, it could be for Jalen Carter, which I think would be very intriguing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Carter has had a very few off-the-field issues, nothing to be too worried about, because I think the Steelers have elite-level front office as far as managing personalities and stuff like that. You see how well they could keep Antonio Brown intact when he was there. So I think they're going to have no problem with a guy like Jalen Carter. But, Nick, what do you think about this report, and what do you think are all the options the Steelers could be looking at?
Yeah, so first and foremost, Miles, the fact that it is Peter King, like you said, he is a reliable source. He's been around for decades, has a lot of feelers in a lot of different organizations. So this is not just some random blogger's comments, some random guy on Twitter. Peter King is very deliberate. Doesn't mean he's always right, but he's got great sources. So he actually is potentially hearing something very solid here that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be moving up to number 9, which caught me a little bit by surprise at first, because the Steelers traditionally don't move up a lot in the draft. They get the guys later in the first round like they normally select. Usually they usually pick pretty well, but they usually don't move up to try and be really aggressive in the draft. But then I thought about it for a second, Mice, as they actually have, and they actually are in a situation to be aggressive. They've got that rookie quarterback, or that young quarterback on that rookie deal. But the thing is, normally when you're in that situation, you surround them with offensive talent. The thing with the Steelers, though, they already have a lot of offensive talent. Obviously, running back is set with Najee Harris. I love Pat Freiermuth. I mentioned him pretty much every Steelers video. Of course, Pickens looks like he's going to be a superstar. A lot of their other wide receivers are really good. They got the young guy, Calvin Austin, who was hurt last season. I think he's going to be a dynamic playmaker this coming season. So if you look at everything around Kenny Pickett, they're already pretty good. So in this case, it's all about moving up and being aggressive because you have the cap space to do it. Again, a rookie quarterback here, or quarterback on the rookie deal. So go defense. And I think Jalen Carter is a guy who kind of reminds me a little bit of Laramie Tunsil, a few years ago, who fell in the draft. He was going to be like a top 5 pick, fell all the way to the Dolphins, I think, at 14, even though he was a heck of a football player and proved to be a heck of a football player in the NFL. Because of, stupid little character concerns. I think Tunsil was with a picture of a bong or something like that on social media. You got Jalen Carter, who had some pro day issues and some other potential things that don't appear to be, like you said, very serious. So I love the fact Steelers moving up to get a guy who a lot of people thought was going to be potentially the number 1, number 2 overall pick, and getting him at number 9 to immediately give this defense a massive upgrade. I think that would be a massive move by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I really think there's actually something to this here, right here. Them moving up to number 9 with Chicago, who, if you recall, Miles, they already have a pretty good relationship with, because they did ship Claypool to the Bears earlier this past season as well. So I really think this has a lot of legs, and I think there's actually some momentum in this direction. And I honestly think it'd be a good move for Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, no, and I think there's more to say on that than people think, Nick. I think it really is important that these teams do have a history. They have talked front office wise, moved players back and forth before. Because, I feel like, some teams, if the GMs, they really do have to get along. You have to have a certain working relationship to, make big moves like this. Because, if like say, for the Bears, say the Green Bay Packers call and try to trade into that number 9 spot, probably not going to go as well, be as favorable as a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rivalry and conference type stuff, a little bit tougher to swallow to make a trade like that. But the Steelers out of conference have a relationship. The Steelers most recently gave them a pretty good player in Chase Claypool. So I'm not saying they're going to give them a bargain by any means, but that working relationship, they're probably not so concerned about the Steelers wanting to trade up into the draft. And I think it's really nice as well. The Steelers are kind of, sort of, letting people know who they're eyeing. So that if the Bears are like, okay, Jalen Carter, not on our draft board for the number 9 slot, we are happy to move out and go get somebody else, whether it's an O-lineman, whether it's a corner, whoever the case may be. They would be happy for Pittsburgh to move up and take a guy like Carter, who, once again, I think would be a very elite talent in the middle of this line. This is the middle of the line that's kind of aging. You have Cam Hayward, who's very, very good, but he is getting a little bit older. You have Adams in the middle, who isn't quite, a world beater. And then Ogunjobi, who has been, I think he has potential to be a really good player, but it's been a while now. He got drafted all the way back in 2017. So I think you need to refresh the elite level talent on this defensive line.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.